The total number of subprime lending storefronts in the state of New Mexico is greater than the number of Target, Walmart, and Starbucks franchises in the state of New Mexico combined. It's an enormous business. And what's so surprising about the success of the business is that the business model fundamentally depends on preying on those who are least financially capable of handling the pressures that borrowing from one of these institutions bring about.
I have been a widow for 17 years this coming June. I worked up until 4 years ago. I'm 76. My late husband is a Sandia National Labs retiree after 42 years. And I won't go into where I lived in the Northeast Heights, but it was lovely. I had a good life. I took out a loan to help an elderly gentleman in Roswell to pay off his credit card bills. And he passed away, then it was all up to me, and it mushroomed from there. This is where I live, in the war zone. My apartment is nice inside, but not outside. This is my life. I have no vehicle.
The payday lending industry would like everyone to believe that their loans are used primarily by the middle class. The reality is that the people who use the loans are society's most vulnerable. Most of them are the working poor, meaning they're people who have jobs but just aren't able to cover their regular monthly expenses through their income.
Many times people are desperate for cash for whatever the reason may be, and they have no alternative but to go to these lenders.
They're generally underbanked, meaning they may have a bank account, but they don't have other relationships with their bank. And so they end up in these high-cost lenders, and the loans end up making things worse.
Debt quickly becomes overwhelming to them, and they're having to give up maybe their vehicles, in some cases even their homes.
I came to Father Jerry when my friend first died and told him what was going on with the title loan.
I've worked with Sherry over 5 years. Almost 6 years. I've taken her to the hospital. I've seen her through, and many times I didn't think she would survive.
I just came from the heart doctor today, and they still tell me my heart and lungs are still deteriorating, and they're not going to get any better.
I worked with her and her partner Ernie, and I had his funeral. And when he died, she didn't have any income from him.
When we had our cafe, we was doing okay, but then when we gave it up, we both were on Social Security. Well, you know, money doesn't go very far. I got to pay rent, light, keep the insurance on the van, try to keep the tags on the van, trying to keep everything going. It was just I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it all.
The way the loans are allegedly supposed to work is that they're short-term loans. You borrow the money, 30 days later you pay it back plus a little bit of interest. But that really isn't the way they're designed to work. The way they're designed to work is that the person borrows the money. When they come back in 30 days, they don't have the money to pay back the full balance of the loan. And so the loan is refinanced or rolled over, or a new loan is written. Whatever the mechanism is that the lender uses, the outcome is the same. The person leaves the storefront with more debt than they had when they walked in to make the payment.
I was paying $350 for a $1,000 loan every month. They told me I had to pay that or they would take my van away.
I paid over $600 a month for approximately a year and a half.
Over the years, I probably paid him about $5,000 or maybe more, just in interest charges and all that.
These loan companies make it look like, we're helping, we're getting people through Christmas, and we're doing so many good things. For 5 minutes, yeah, you are, for a week. But then they come, we used to call them in Spanish, the bloodsuckers. They're the leeches. They cling to you, and they will suck the blood out of you.
One night I was watching TV, and I'm hearing a wrecker and the flashing lights, and I go out, and the driver would not give me any information. I called the police immediately. They came and had the wrecker driver show me who was taking the vehicle. They had a court order to take my car. I went in, got the key, and broke down. I just want people to know it happens, and it's not nice. It's not nice, it hurts. To watch a car, beautiful car, that you paid for, hard money, go on the back of a tow truck. But I watched it tow off, and the next day I knew I'd never have it again.
It is incredible. It's incredible how much money there is to be made preying on the poor. But these companies have found a way to mine that segment of New Mexico's population, and they've made it incredibly profitable.
I mean, that is immoral. It is corrupt. It is taking advantage of the poor. And the sad thing, most of these companies are not here in New Mexico.
Most of the lenders are from out of state. And to the extent that people are using the funds and then paying 400, 600, or 1,000% interest on the funds, then that's money that is being taken out of the local economy.
It is absolutely necessary for the legislature to consider placing a cap on these lenders.
All studies show every group, every demographic in the United States favors interest rate caps once they understand how these loans work. Once people realize what's happening, it doesn't matter if they're a Republican, a Democrat, a very conservative, very liberal, a young person, an old person. People overwhelmingly believe that interest rates on consumer loans should be capped. So what's very mysterious here is why that information, including local polling, does not lead to a change in the law.
In the legislative sessions 2014 and 2015, there were about 24 lobbyists on the industry payroll. And these were all of the most influential lobbyists in the state of New Mexico.
That was more lobbyists than any other industry or any other bill that was considered by our legislature.
Among those lobbyists were former legislators, a former governor, Jerry Apodaca, Raymond Sanchez, brother of House Majority Leader Michael Sanchez and former Speaker of the House. Very powerful folks within the New Mexico political culture. And they have a lot of power with legislators. Oftentimes there's an implied threat that if you disagree with a lobbyist on a major issue, that donations from that lobbyist's clients will dry up.
The industry has lobbied so extensively all of our legislators here in New Mexico, giving money to people in both political parties. It is impossible to even get the bills out of committee.
The legislature, quite frankly, just refuses to move on the issue.
I can't say that I blame them for wanting to fight against legislative enactments that will make it impossible for them to continue their business. But what I will say is, if your business is fundamentally predicated on taking advantage of people in a way that is inconsistent with other provisions of New Mexico law, you shouldn't be in that business.